Hello, and a super warm welcome back to all you wonderful English learners tuning into English for your day. It's your host, Lily, here to infuse your day with a burst of English energy and inspiration. And guess what? Today, we're diving headfirst into a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It has the power to completely transform your English learning experience, thinking in English. To guide us through the ins and outs of this incredible skill, we have the one and only Miss Sofia, an English teaching extraordinaire with a passion for empowering learners like you. Welcome back to the show, Miss Sofia. It's always a joy to have you grace us with your presence.
Oh, Lily, thank you so much for that warm welcome. It's always a pleasure to be here, sharing my love for the English language with your fantastic listeners.
We're absolutely thrilled to have your expertise. Now, Miss Sofia, I know many of our listeners might be thinking in English? That sounds like something only native speakers or super advanced learners can do. What words of encouragement would you offer to those who feel intimidated by this concept?
That's a very common feeling, Lily. But I want to assure everyone listening that thinking in English is not some exclusive club for native speakers or advanced learners. While it might seem like a distant goal, it's a skill that any dedicated English learner can develop with the right mindset, consistent practice, and a sprinkle of patience. Think of it as a gradual mental shift, where you train your brain to form thoughts and ideas directly in English, without needing to rely on translation from your native language. It's like your brain has a special English mode switch, and you can learn to activate it more and more frequently until it becomes your default setting.
That sounds incredibly empowering. But how do we even begin to flip that switch? It can seem like a daunting task, especially for those who are just starting their English learning journey.
The key is to start small and build a strong foundation, Lily. One of the most effective starting points is to become more mindful of the world around you and start labeling it in English. Look around your room, your office, or wherever you are right now. What do you see? Computer, desk, bookshelf, coffee mug, window, plant. Try to name those everyday objects in English, almost as if you're mentally attaching English labels to them. It's like creating your own personalized English dictionary of your surroundings.
Okay, that seems like a manageable first step. I can definitely visualize myself doing that. It's like I'm building my own little English world, one object at a time.
Exactly. And as you go about your day, try to describe your actions in English as well. I'm opening the window to let in some fresh air. I'm making a delicious breakfast to start my day. I'm walking the dog in the park. These little mental comments in English will start to create a constant stream of English flowing through your mind, laying the groundwork for more complex thoughts and ideas.
I love that. It's like I'm becoming my own personal English commentator, narrating my life in real time and adding a touch of English flair to my everyday routine.
Precisely. And speaking of narration, try to immerse yourself in the sounds of English as much as possible. Listen to English music, podcasts like this one, of course. Watch movies or TV shows, even with subtitles if you need them at first. It's all about training your ears to the nuances of the language. The rhythm, the intonation, the different accents. The more you expose yourself to the sounds of English, the more comfortable your brain will become with processing and generating English.
I'm a huge fan of English movies and TV series. I often find myself repeating lines or trying to imitate the actors' accents. It's so much fun and a great way to practice pronunciation.
That's a fantastic way to practice. And never underestimate the power of reading. Find books, articles, or websites that genuinely capture your curiosity and make you want to keep reading. Start with simpler materials and gradually challenge yourself with more complex ones as you progress. The more you read, the more you'll expand your vocabulary, improve your grammar, and internalize the natural flow of the English language.
You've given us some fantastic tips on how to create an English-rich environment for ourselves. But Miss Sophia, what about actually generating thoughts in English? How can we practice that more directly, beyond just labeling things and describing actions? I think this is where many learners feel stuck.
That's an excellent question, Lily. And you're right. This is where many learners face a hurdle. But fear not. There are definitely ways to actively practice thinking in English. One of the most powerful techniques is what we call self-talk. It might sound a bit strange at first, but it's incredibly effective.
Self-talk? Do you mean talking to myself in English? I've caught myself doing that a few times, but I usually switch back to my native language.
Exactly. Embrace those moments when you catch yourself thinking in your native language. And gently guide your thoughts back to English. Talk to yourself in English. Have those inner dialogues. Those mental debates. Those random thoughts all in English. Describe your day, your feelings, your aspirations, your challenges, anything at all. It's like having a conversation with your inner self, but in English.
So, if I'm feeling stressed about an upcoming exam, I could say to myself, "Okay, Lily, you've got this. You've been studying hard and you know the material. Just take a deep breath and try your best." Something like that?
Exactly. That's a perfect example of self-talk. You can also use self-talk to reflect on your day, plan your activities, or even just express your thoughts and feelings about anything that's on your mind. This cake is delicious. I wonder what ingredients are in it. Or, I'm feeling a bit tired today. Maybe I need to get an earlier night tonight. The more you practice this inner monologue in English, the more natural it will become.
I'm starting to see how this could be really helpful. It's like I'm constantly practicing English, even when I'm alone with my thoughts.
Exactly. You're essentially creating a continuous loop of English in your mind. And you can also try describing what you see around you in more detail, as if you're giving a tour to an imaginary English-speaking friend. This is my living room. The walls are painted a warm beige, and there's a comfortable sofa with colorful cushions. I love to relax here with a good book in the evenings.
That's a fun way to practice. I can almost imagine myself doing that. But what if I get stuck and don't know the right words to express myself? I don't want to get discouraged and give up.
That's perfectly normal, Lily. Everyone gets stuck sometimes, even native speakers. Don't let it hold you back. Try to explain things in a different way, or use simpler words. And if you need to look up a word, try using an English dictionary. This way, you learn the meaning in English, not just a translation, which helps you build your English thinking skills even further.
That's a great tip. I often rely on my bilingual dictionary, but I can see how using an English dictionary could be more beneficial for developing my thinking skills.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Mistakes are an inevitable part of learning any language. Embrace them. They're actually valuable opportunities to learn and grow. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make, and the more confident you'll become.
That's reassuring to hear. I often get self-conscious about making grammatical errors or pronouncing things incorrectly. But I'm starting to realize that mistakes are just stepping stones on the path to fluency.
Absolutely. And remember, be patient with yourself. Thinking in English takes time and consistent effort. Celebrate your progress no matter how small. And most importantly, have fun with it. The more you enjoy the process, the more likely you are to stick with it and achieve your goals.
This has been incredibly insightful and encouraging, Ms. Sofia. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and passion with us.
It was my absolute pleasure, Lily. I hope everyone listening feels inspired and empowered to start thinking in English.
A massive thank you to Ms. Sofia for joining us today and sharing her invaluable wisdom. And to all our amazing listeners, remember to start small. Create an English-rich environment for yourselves, practice consistently, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. You've got this. Until next time, this is Lily on English for your day, reminding you to make English a part of your everyday life.
Before we finish, let's quickly go over some of the key words and phrases we used today. Daunting. This means something seems very difficult or challenging.
Example, climbing Mount Everest is a daunting task.
Transform. This means to change something completely.
Example, a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly.
Expertise. This means having a high level of skill or knowledge in a particular area.
Example, the surgeon's expertise saved the patient's life.
Intimidated. This means feeling scared or nervous because you lack confidence.
Example, the young boy felt intimidated by the older bullies.
Misconception. This means a wrong idea or belief about something.
Example, it's a common misconception that cats hate water.
Dedicated. This means being very committed to something or someone.
Example, she is a dedicated teacher who always puts her students first.
Mindset. This means someone's general attitude or way of thinking.
Example, she has a positive mindset and believes she can achieve anything.
Gradual. This means happening slowly over time.
Example, there has been a gradual improvement in her health.
Mindful. This means being aware of or paying attention to something.
Example, be mindful of your surroundings when walking alone at night.
Visualize. This means to create a picture in your mind.
Example, I tried to visualize the scene she was describing.
Manageable. This means something is possible to do or deal with.
Example, the project seemed daunting at first, but it's actually quite manageable.
Nuances. This means small, subtle differences in meaning or expression.
Example, she was able to pick up on the nuances in her voice.
Intonation. This means the way your voice rises and falls when you speak.
Example, the intonation of her voice made it clear she was asking a question.
Underestimate. This means to think something is smaller or less important than it really is.
Example, never underestimate the power of a good book.
Genuinely. This means truly or sincerely.
Example, I am genuinely grateful for your help.
Curiosity. This means a strong desire to know or learn something.
Example, children have a natural curiosity about the world around them.
Internalize. This means to make something like an idea or a belief part of yourself.
Example, she had internalized the values of her parents.
Generating. This means creating or producing something.
Example, the wind turbine is generating electricity.
Inner. This means something inside of you, like your thoughts or feelings.
Example, he had to overcome his inner fears to succeed.
Dialogue. This means a conversation between two or more people.
Example, the movie had witty dialogue and memorable characters.
Monologue. This means a long speech by one person.
Example, the comedian performed a hilarious monologue about his childhood.
Aspiration. This means a strong desire to achieve something.
Example, her aspiration is to become a doctor.
Inevitable. This means something that is certain to happen and cannot be avoided.
Example, change is an inevitable part of life.
Infuse. This means to fill something with a particular quality.
Example, she infused the room with a sense of calm.
Extraordinaire. This means someone who is very special or talented in a particular way.
Example, he is a chef extraordinaire, known for his innovative cuisine.
Grace. This means elegance and beauty in movement or appearance.
Example, her presence graced the event.
Assure. This means to tell someone something confidently to remove any doubts.
Example, I assure you that everything will be fine.
Exclusive. This means limited to only one person or group of people.
Example, this offer is exclusive to our VIP customers.
Sprinkle. This means to scatter small drops or pieces of something.
Example, sprinkle some sugar on top of the cake.
Foundation. This means a base or starting point for something, like the foundation of a house.
Example, a strong foundation in mathematics is essential for a career in engineering.
Groundwork. This means the early work that is done to prepare for something.
Example, the committee laid the groundwork for future negotiations.
Flair. This means a natural talent or ability for something.
Example, she has a flair for languages.
Accent. This means the way someone pronounces words, showing where they are from.
Example, he speaks with a strong Southern accent.
Expand. This means to become bigger or to make something bigger.
Example, the company plans to expand into new markets.
Embrace. This means to accept something with enthusiasm.
Example, he embraced the opportunity to travel the world.
Upcoming. This means something that is going to happen soon.
Example, we're excited about the upcoming holiday season.
Reflect. This means to think carefully about something.
Example, he reflected on his past mistakes.
Ingredients. These are the things you use to make food, like flour and sugar for a cake.
Example, the ingredients for this recipe include flour, sugar, and eggs.
Beige. This is a light brown color.
Example, the walls were painted a warm beige.
Cushion. This is a soft bag filled with something like feathers or foam, used for sitting or leaning on.
Example, she sank into the comfortable cushions of the sofa.
Hold back. This means to prevent someone or something from moving forward.
Example, don't let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams.
Bilingual. This means being able to speak two languages fluently.
Example, she is bilingual in English and Spanish.
Beneficial. This means something is helpful or good for you.
Example, exercise is beneficial to your health.
Self-conscious. This means feeling nervous or uncomfortable about what other people think of you.
Example, he felt self-conscious about his height.
Stepping stone. This means something that helps you to progress towards a goal.
Example, this job is a stepping stone to a successful career.
Consistently. This means doing something regularly and in the same way.
Example, she consistently performs well in school.